Suncorp Stadium is the venue for this round 20 clash in the Telstra Premiership. It's the Broncos up against the Sea Eagles. Let's take a look at both sides now. First up, the Brisbane Broncos have a couple of changes to their starting 13. Nick Parfitt will be the fullback. Craig Frawley comes into the back line as well. And Carl Webb takes the place of the injured Gordon Tallis. Brad Myers comes off the bench into the second row. The bench now is Sivanasiva, G, Prince and Barry Berrigan. The coach is Wayne Bennett. Plenty of changes also for the Manly Sea Eagles. Glenn Stewart will start the game in the back line. Kevin McGuinness comes into the side for the absent Ben McDougall. And the bench now is Cannings, Jensen, Watmow and Hayne. The coach is Peter Sharp.
It's up to the young guys, Myers, the Parkers, to really step up to the plate tonight for the Brisbane Broncos. Help their more senior players out, because they will be starting to feel a bit tired as Sean Hampstead gets us underway.
The kickoff headed towards the sideline, bouncing up for the Broncos as they try to bring it back to their own 20. And that's where they will work it away from. Shane Webke here being met by Lima and others. Jason King up there to make the tackle as well. Here's Myers. Ball down short of the 30-metre line. The Broncos, 2 wins in their last 4 games. Of course, they went to extra point time last week against the Melbourne Storm. Animated reaction of Wayne Bennett as they got the better of Melbourne, and they get an early penalty here. A chance to find the line. Danny Lima taking too long to get off the tackle player. They'll have it from about 35 out from the Manly line. Craig Frawley playing on the left wing tonight for the Broncos, with Scott Minto switching over to the right-hand side after scoring that game-winning try last week down the left-hand edge for the Broncos against the Storm. Swain comes to Sean Berrigan. Barry working off the bench, and Webke hit a solid tackle. King around the shoulders upstairs, drove him to the ground. Berrigan again, back on the inside for Carlaw. They dropped off on the inside. Carlaw still going, powering his way through this Manly defensive line. Swain from dummy half. A short ball comes away to Parker, who had an enormous game last week against Melbourne at Olympic Park. He'll play it only a couple of metres out. Swain coming to Berrigan. There's Eichen outside him, standing wide. Myers is also there. Steve Menzies, though, comes up with a scything tackle around the legs. Here's Berrigan on the last tackle, putting it into the air. A chance for Minto, perhaps. They all hang off. And Scott Donald was able to take that kick under no pressure at all. Yeah, danger signs already for the Manly team. Being found out on the inside, some lazy defenders. That's an area that they've got to work hard. Berrigan and Eichen, they love turning the ball back on the inside, catching out lazy defenders. Here's King running into the very significant frame of Dane Carlaw. Come down this right-hand side with Amono, holding the ball out there in one arm, desperate for an offload, still trying to get it away, and might have been lucky to hang on to it there. May have come loose for a second and then fallen back into his hand. Here's Randall, and it's Dorn who will get the kick away. Will bounce up there for Nick Parfitt, the man with the job tonight of filling that role. It has been owned by Darren Lockyer so many years now here in Brisbane. Kelly gets a ball popped up to him, coming across. Creary can't make the tackle, but Anthony Watmow can. He claims he put him over the sideline, but the touch judge says it's play on. Here's Berrigan now, losing it. Comes to Parker, who stopped at the 30-metre line. Swain from dummy half. We'll give it to Eichen. He gives it away to Frawley. He comes to Albert Torrens, who's big and strong and a real handful, who has already had a couple of knee reconstructions in his career. Eichen to Berrigan off the left foot. Giving it away to Parfitt, joining in, described by Darren Lockyer himself before the game. There's a Robbie Ross type player looking to help out with the forwards around the ruck area. Donald again, handling the kick pretty comfortably. It will be brought back out to the 20 for the Sea Eagles.
Well, that's 2 in a row. He's handled very well, Scotty Donald. Might be a plan there by the Brisbane Broncos to test him out. He's not tall. Interesting to see the way that the Manly team have lined up. Kevin McGuinness and Albert Torrens are playing out on the right. And Anthony Watmow is playing in the centres offensively for the Manly team. as Norton Tallis sits in the stand looking on. Of course, we'll be out of football for a number of weeks. And defensively, the Manly team are playing Luke Dorn out as left centre.
A real reshuffling, forcing the hand of Peter Sharp in the minutes before this game kicked off, with Brendan Reeves pulling out at the last minute, and the travelling reserve Glenn Stewart getting the late caller. As Menzies playing it for Randall, again from dummy half. He tests them out. He'll do that time and again, and picked up 10 or 12 metres on this occasion. Here's Dorn coming to Williamson. He's only about 25 metres out when he'll play it here. Comes from Harris back to Dorn, and now here's a Mono running away from the Webke tackle. Harris coming up with it. Is only a couple of metres away when he's eventually wrapped up by Eichen and also Webke. Randall to Dorn. Well, Grubber this time looking for 6 more tackles, but Minto's there to try and bring it back to the field of play. He bounced off them, but they round him up, and they've done pretty well, Manly, to pick up some big metres and worked a nice play off the back end of the set.
And it was Luke Dorn heavily involved, getting his hands on the football early in the game, really doubling around, putting on plays, and then coming back to the middle of the Broncos. A lovely little kicking goal. They get a repeat set.
Eichen with the goal line dropout, which will sit up for Luke Williamson, and it's Jason King to bring it back inside the Brisbane 30. McGuinness, a dummy half to Williamson. He has a Mono with him. Torrens playing on this right wing, it would seem, for them. Working from dummy half now, running a long way before he got to Carl Webb and also Richard Swain. Now Williamson, first receiver, will give it to Dorn, who bypasses Menzies. What now, as you were saying, Laurie, playing out there in that position of left centre. Had Donald with him, but hung on to it. Now Creary going from dummy half, scored from close range last week against the Roosters. This time he's held up by Brad Myers. Randall on the last tackle. We'll give it to Dorn, grubbering again. Menzies was chasing through, but knocked it on as he reached out for it. And it was still in the field of play when he did so. So it won't be brought back out to the 20 for a knock-on in goal. They'll play it there, and it's Eichen who takes it up to be met by Jason King.
And a lot of teams are having success with the grubber kick this year, especially after coming from a sideline, putting the grubber kick back at the post. This is a tactic I think that Manly can have a little bit of success tonight. Nick Parfitt hasn't played a great deal in first grade. Obviously will struggle with the pace of the game, where to be at the right time. And I think Manly have got to make it extremely difficult for them, or for him in particular. Don't let him become comfortable. If he thinks you're going to kick long, kick short. If he thinks you're going to kick high, kick along the ground.
Here's Richard Swain, who did so much work in defence last night for the Kiwis, taking it across the halfway line. Eichen bringing back to his left-hand side, kicking over the head, or trying to kick over the head of Creary at least, who did pretty well, playing in just his 3rd game of the season. He finds himself suddenly at fullback with Reeves out of action. Menzies from dummy half, taking it to the Manly defensive line. A flick out the back finds McGuinness. He links up with Lima, who has only Parfitt in front of him. And DeVere came out to help and drag him down from behind. Randall, they go left quickly, sensing they might be short on that side. Here's Harris back on the inside. A lovely ball, still going, but grabbed in a try-saving tackle by Parfitt. Randall back on the inside for Luke Dorn. He's grabbed by Corey Parker, just a couple of metres away. Here's Randall. Tipping it on was what now for Scott Donald? That's all okay. And Manly score the first try here at Suncorp. Some quick hands and some quick thinking. Have them in front, 4 points to 0.
Well, it's great work by the Manly team. They're under a little bit of pressure early in the game, but they've hit back themselves with some nice offloads. And Brisbane, they concede more line breaks up the middle than any other team in the competition. And Manly are certainly exploiting that tonight. And then they work the short side. What now? Getting the pass over to Scotty Donald. That's his 15th try for the year. When they slide particularly hard, the Brisbane Broncos. They're big men. They find it hard to stop and change. They come back. They want you to throw the ball. They want you to go towards the sideline.
Williamson with a difficult attempt, wide out, backed up against the sideline. 22 metres out, he'll have it from. Corey Parker with Carl Webb and friends watching on from inside the in-goal. They did so well, Brisbane, to get through the State of Origin period and come off the back of each 3 games with a win. It was an incredible effort from them. They did that against the Raiders, the Roosters, and of course last week against the Melbourne Storm, dropping games to the Dragons and the Bulldogs in the middle of that Origin period. Williamson from wide out strikes it pretty well. It's got the legs, but it just swings away to the right-hand side. 10 minutes gone here in Brisbane. It's Manly who lead the Broncos 4 points to 0. Good start from them after weathering something of a Broncos storm, and they got close to the line a couple of times. Came up with a couple of ineffectual kicks off the back of it. The Sea Eagles, on the other hand, grubbered and come up with a repeat set of 6. And not long after it, Scott Donald scores their first try of the game. The kickoff, Creary almost runs into the upright, floating back with the flight of the ball. A difficult one for the new fullback tonight, but he took it well. Randall away to Lima, who runs at Eichen, bullocks him back some yards. What a start to the game from Danny Lima. So much possession, as you saw, almost 2/3 of the football for Manly so far in this game. Here's Menzies now, playing at 20 short of the halfway line. It's King who takes it up to be met by Carl Webb and Brad Myers, and they drive him backwards. And 2 tackles left in this set of 6. Dorn doing the kicking. Flight down behind Craig Frawley there. Nick Parfitt picking it up, bring it back to Kevin McGuinness. Makes a nice tackle around the chest. Here's Frawley going from dummy half. Sam Harris getting in amongst the thick of it there to make the tackle. Brent Tate, of course, is being rested tonight by Wayne Bennett. It's a real luxury when you're the Brisbane coach and you can rest somebody who had the game that Brent Tate had last night playing for Australia.
He was fantastic, wasn't he, Brent Tate? But he realises that a lot of these players are tired, and he has rested players after Origin games. And the key early here for the Eagles. There's a lovely offload there by Corey Parker.
Now Parker to Swain Eichen, getting it back. Touched by Anthony Watt now. We'll get 6 more tackles. Carmel pouring into a space. Had some support there, but McGuinness did well to put himself between Carla and also De Vere. Berrigan running a long way. So is Carl Webb, who's stopped by Harris and also Albert Torrens there, only just. Berrigan now. Good hands by Eichen, who reached down low, comes back to Berrigan, who sees the gap and is almost through it. Flicks it out the back to Swain. They must score. Corey Parker reaching out and putting it down for the Broncos. They've hit straight back. It took them only a couple of minutes. They look likely to score a couple of tackles before that, but eventually they find the line to tie us up at 4.
Yeah, great work by the Brisbane Broncos. They've certainly got a good hit-back mentality. When you score, they want to come back and score one themselves. And Dane Carlaw was great last night, backing up. Tremendous run. Good pick up this by Benny Eichen. Off his toes and played back down the middle. And Berrigan, a strong runner of the football, just flicking it out the back. They drew the numbers in. Then he had a one-on-one, Corey Parker. And I was going to say earlier before they scored, Warren, that to really make the Brisbane players that have backed up last night feel tired, it's a battle of the field position game. So the kick chase, therefore, is important for Manly tonight. If they can get their bigger men coming off the try line, all of a sudden the Webkes and 7 receivers and the Swain start to feel tired.
De Vere from wide out, hooking it back off the post and over the black dot. We saw something like that at the British Open last week in the wind, didn't we? What a kick from wide out by Michael De Vere. Went via the cape, that one. Never likely to have enough hook on it, but it hit the post, and that's all it needed. Luke Williamson is back underway here. Come down towards Ben Eichen, who'll field it at the 10-metre line to give it to Webke, who just comes back at 100 miles an hour, met by Danny Lima. Menzies making the first contact with him. Now Myers. Running sideways. Picked off there by Hamono and Randall. Andrew G. will play it. Back to Swain. It comes to this man, Corey Parker, the scorer of the try, picking up from when he left off last week against Melbourne. 15 minutes gone, and it's the Broncos who lead the Sea Eagles by 2. Iken under some pressure there, and Mono just gave up on the chase and knocked on here perhaps by Creary. He'll get the benefit of the doubt from Sean Hampstead. No, he won't. After a long delay and perhaps a word from the touch judge, Sean Hampstead says that Mitch Creary knocked it on.
It was a lovely strike, wasn't it, by Benny Iken. The big torpedo down. And Creary playing at the football, knocking it forward. And again, the Broncos get a chance to go on the attack.
The Broncos will have it from the scrum here. Berrigan to Iken. Now Webb looking to force a pass out the back, but he's wrapped up by McGuinness. Here's Frawley from dummy half. Swain going past Webke to give it to Berrigan. Lima just reaching out with an arm tackle. Luckily for him, Randall was there down low to stop him. Swain coming back to the left. We'll go to Iken as they stack some numbers here. Webb bouncing into Harris. The pass has been called a forward one, and everybody a little bit puzzled for a moment there, and I can understand why.
It was a little bit flat, wasn't it? But certainly Carl Webb lurking down this left edge. And of course it is Carl Webb corner. Who can ever forget that famous try he scored in 2001 first Origin game.
You've got to go down with that outside foot forward, get that foot back, even better. Right, blocking him tightly, that's it.
It was Manly with the scrum. It was one of those passes.
Stand up, Brisbane. You're going straight. You lock it into him. You're going straight. Right, now go in, take the loose. Right, you're going there. Get it in there.
They eventually out the back of the scrum. He's much more pedantic about the scrum forming this year than they have been in past seasons, as Creary is tackled here. A pass that was ruled forward for the Broncos. One of those ones where the pass where the football drops off on the play and perhaps gives the touch judge the impression the ball went forward, but that didn't look to be the case as we watched it live.
Yeah, it looked to be a reasonable pass, but one of the things I can't understand about football teams these days is the halfback not putting the ball into the scrum. And I know you'll usually win the football, but when a regular halfback doesn't put it into the scrum, it looks as though they're going to lose it. It looks as though they don't know what to do. It looks as though they don't know whether to throw it into the second row or do we throw it in the middle. And you always just get the feeling that sometimes a team is going to lose the ball.
Locked in. In you too.
Well, the Broncos will retain the ball for the moment here. They get a penalty for player flopping in the tackle. It's Iken. That big kick that was spilt by Creary and then knocked on.
131, 931.
Comes up with another good kick to the line here as they will have it 42 out from the Sea Eagles line. Kevin McGuinness has a problem out here on the right-hand wing for the Sea Eagles. He's right up at the moment, just dangling from his side. He might have injured either a forearm or perhaps even a right shoulder. And with Brendan Reeves pulling out of the game before it started, they can ill afford to lose McGuinness.
No, it's certainly dent their back line around. Although, of course, they've got Steve Menzies there, who can go out and play wide, although he's more effective in the middle of the park. He's just got to try and battle his way through it, doesn't he, Kevin McGuinness?
Here's Williamson now, doing the honours as the temporary halfback. Menzies has it, gets it out the back. It comes to Dorn. Ball back on the inside for Watt now, who is grabbed there by Dane Carville. Scott Donald. The season he's had scoring tries for Manly.
And you made the tackle.
And the Broncos not square at marker. Ben Iken can't believe what he's hearing.
Well, they do this better than any other team as well, Brisbane. They work hard from marker. If they get you on the sideline and you want to run from dummy half, the first marker pushes up and usually makes the tackle. You've got to get a pass. A wide pass so the markers can't pick you up. just an easy tackle for them.
Aaron Cannings is out there for the Seagulls, getting his first chance off the bench. Menzies taking it within about 25. The penalty conceded here by the Broncos. Hand in the tackle there. Menzies wants the quick tap and takes it. Run a line across the 20-metre line where he stopped there by Carl Webb. Here's Randall giving it to Luke Dorn, bypassing Harris to come to Hamono, who's met downstairs by Swain with the help of Berrigan over the top. McGuinness getting in the dummy half, gives it off to Harris. He's only about 3 metres out when he'll play it. Randall again to Dorn, who comes back to the short side. Another switch. Here's Williamson. Cannings now one-on-one with Carmel there. He got some help from Eichen, who went downstairs. Watmout to the blind side. Randall away to Donald, looking for number 2. He's making a habit of it, but they will check upstairs. Perhaps a suggestion that he might have taken the corner post, but as we looked at it, it looked to be okay. For a player who scored his tries in multiples so far this year, he may well have a double.
Yeah, this will be a try. Good work. Down the short side. Scotty Donald, the leading try scorer for the Manly team this season. He'll grab a double. The Eagles will take the lead. We spoke about their markers before Brisbane, and this time they've just slackened off. The Watmouths, the Chad Randalls, they love a short side. They'll come down with only a metre to spare and try to put the winger away and go themselves. As the video ref awards the try. It's been a good hit back by the Eagles. The same corner.
Well, here it is again from Watmouth to Randall, who, as you say, just lives down that blind side in attack for the Seagulls. And Donald, good strength as well to be able to stay inside the sideline. Kelly coming across.
Second try tonight to number 2.
Knock him over the sideline. And Donald gets his second in the opening 20 or so minutes here. 16 tries now on the season. Half of his career tally.
Suncorp Stadium.
The Seagulls in front by 2. Wayne Bennett watching on with Alan Langer up in the coach's box, whose young son Harrison was out on this field before this game kicked off tonight, playing for one of the local junior sides, and looks
Very
to be
good too,
a chip off the old block, I must say. Not much being said behind the Broncos line. Williamson, a pretty good strike with his first conversion attempt. Just faded away to the right-hand side. We'll see if he's adjusted. This one starting to the left-hand side, but coming back, but not enough. 2 tries, no goals yet for Manly, but they lead the Broncos 8 points to 6 as we go downstairs to the sideline, and Sean Lawson.
Thanks, Wazza. Broncos golden boy of late, Scott Minto, has injured an ankle. Apparently it's an old injury and he won't be back.
So Scott Minto out of the game already for the Broncos. What a game this has been. Brendan Reeves out of action in the minutes before kickoff, suffering a back spasm, which he has had problems with before, the Manly fullback, and his place taken by Glenn Stewart. And then Scott Minto out of action for the Broncos, the winger, succumbing in the opening 20 or so minutes here. Watmouth bouncing off the Eichen tackle. He stopped about 18 short of the halfway line. He'll play it back to Randall. He shows it and then straightens on the run. He's only about 12 metres away. King taking it up towards the halfway line. Well, played on the last tackle. Randall again. He'll give it back to Dorn. In towards this near touchline. But Nick Parfitt, pretty solid, played in this baby Broncos outfit that beat the Tigers at Campbelltown last year, getting his chance again tonight with Lockyer out of action. And of course, you may well see plenty of action when Darren Lockyer recovers from the ankle problem he suffered last week against the Storm, which kept him out of last night's test match.
Yeah, certainly a good opportunity for these younger Broncos players to step up now that there's been a few injuries.
Berrigan stepping off the left foot, was almost away, flicks it out the back. Swain gets to it. Parker again one-on-one there with Kevin McGuinness, who Makes a better tackle than he was able to do on top of his own try line when Parker scored the Broncos 4-pointer. Swain comes away to Berrigan, who will kick with Creary. Again having trouble in front of his own post. He's had a couple of dodgy moments, hasn't he? One cost him a knock-on at close range, and this one almost getting away from him again.
Well, that's the second one. You'd expect plenty more.
Well, they tried some fullbacks, of course. And Brendan Reeves isn't in the side for Manly. An unsuccessful stint there at the back for Kevin McGuinness against the Bulldogs at Homebush earlier this season. As Petro Sivanasiva warms up on the sideline, wanting to come into action for the first time. Here's Randall. And back to Dorn. We'll kick again down the middle of the park, although Parker decides to let this one bounce. Seagulls there in plenty of numbers right across the park in front of him. He'll play it 15 on his own side of halfway. Here's Kelly weaving a run up towards the halfway line and offloading to Swain as well, who's got Myers backing up in support. And a good tackle, but another offload batted on by Parker. Comes away to DeVere. He's got Frawley with him. Back on the inside to the winger, showing some speed. Knocked on by Berrigan. Just was about to build. Sivanasiva was there still waiting for it. These were a couple of others, including Swain. Berrigan just couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, good scrambling defence there by the Manly team. They'd worked it beautifully, the Brisbane Broncos, down the left edge. They've got them a couple of times there for numbers. It's been the ability of the Eagles to scramble back, get numbers in the play, fall on any loose ball or make the tackle, as the Broncos have now given away a penalty from the scrum, breaking too early.
Dorn will fight off plenty of metres. A good kick from the Manly halfback, but not much of an angle. It's picked up just on 40 metres. And they'll have it at the Brisbane Broncos 30. Jason King running and Richard Swain. They'll play at about 24 out from the Brisbane line. Here's Jensen now getting the first receiver. Stepping off that left foot, he got away from Parker, but Sivanasiva was there to help him out. Randall going left again. There's Dorn. Here's Cannings now. He's been resigned to coming off the bench after being a starter for Manly for a good part of the season. Creary, a dummy half, to Watt now, who grubbers and will put Parker under some pressure here, who didn't get it cleanly. Get him. And Watt now thinks he might have come through and placed a hand on it before Parfitt put some pressure on it. And there you see Watt now beating Parfitt to the ball, a resigned look on the fullback's face as we watch the replay. But Watt now just sneaking in under his guard here, coming from the left-hand side, gets the right hand on it, and that will be try number 3 for Manly.
Yeah, good play there by Watt now. He certainly chanced his arm. It looked as though Parfitt had it all cleaned up. And this should be a try for the Manly team to extend their lead further.
And it is green lights for the visitors, who once again stretch it out. They lead the Broncos 12 points to 6 as we approach the half an hour mark here at Suncorp.
And that's good work by Watt now, in as far as he's really testing out Parfitt, and that's what you have to do to a rookie, especially playing at the back, because it can become a lonely place, especially if you're not getting the ball on the full and the opposition players are starting to come down in a line. They're kicking to your left when you're thinking they're going to kick to the right. Putting it on the ground, just exploiting him a little bit. And I think they can get a lot more value out of it if they continue to try and vary their kicking game.
Well-placed kick. He was an enormous chance of getting 6 more tackles had he not come up with the put down. And he'll take the 4-pointer. 9 in 2003. He does make a habit of it. Shane Webke, the captain for the first time tonight of this Brisbane Broncos side, going back to the bench after putting in almost half an hour's work. And Luke Williamson with the conversion. It's a nice scoreline if you're a Manly fan. They lead the Broncos here 14 points to 6. It is very much a case of what's left for both sides. After injuries have really depleted the ranks in the last 7 days at varying stages. And now Michael DeVere will get us back underway. 4 changes for the Brisbane Broncos. As the kickoff comes down to Chad Randall, he'll give it off to Jason King, who will bring it out. Barry Berrigan comes on, man replacing Shane Webke. Wearing jumper 23 for the Broncos tonight is Cannings. Takes it a long way before he's stopped there by Carlaw. Randall to Menzies, running over the top almost of Berrigan. What now? On the inside to Jensen. They had a very good position last week against the Roosters. Manly led them a good deal of that first half before giving up a stack of points in the second half. The Roosters scored 4 tries almost back-to-back during a 10 or 12-minute period of that second half to really stretch that scoreline out. They were in that game for a long time, the Sea Eagles. They rate themselves an enormous show here to cause an upset. Here's Parker.
Well, of course, they've got to go on with the job, Warren. I think everyone, when they play Brisbane, they always come out and they play well for 40 minutes. But you know that the Broncos are going to be there at the back end of the game. So you've got to be prepared to go with them. And when you get them in a position to try and win, you've got to take it. And that's what some teams come to terms with.
Sean Berrigan popping the ball for Kevin McGuinness. And luckily for the Broncos, was grabbed straight away by Parfitt. Otherwise, he was under the post. Hamono now. He's just 35 metres out when he'll play it back to Chad Randall. King at the advantage line when he took the ball. Met there by Swain and also Seven-Asiva. Randall with a trademark run down the blind side. Picked up in a tackle there by Berrigan. McGuinness and then Creary. Here's McGuinness again. A rapid-fire play the ball from the fullback. Cannings has it just 5 metres out when he's stopped by Seven-Asiva. 5 tackles gone. And it's Menzies. A stuttering run puts a kick in, which is too big, being about 3 or 4 metres. It was a strange play from the captain.
A strange play in the fact, Warren, that Luke Dorn was on the left screaming for it, and Menzies had picked it up from dummy half and looked as though he didn't know what to do with it. Dorn wanted the football, and in that situation, you've got to get it to your playmaker.
Here's Myers, about 18 short of the halfway line. Carlo. Stopped there by Anthony Watt. Now, what a game he's had so far. Swain saying, not too long to get to play the ball away, sir. Seven-Asiva. Stopped by Randall. Again, what now involved? Here's Iken. Stepping off that left foot. They played at the halfway line. On the last tackle, G. Give it to Sean Berrigan. Spiral bomb for Creary, who stands there like a statue. Came almost straight to him like it was laser guided. And this time he has no trouble coming up with it after making a couple of fumbles at the back earlier. What now from dummy half? Gets a penalty for his team.
Got to come back square, Petro.
Seven-Asiva, the player penalised for not being square there at marker, and Watt now realising that, took the chance to go and milk the penalty. Sean Hampstead obliged by giving it to him. They lead 5-2 in the penalties here. Petro, Seven-Asiva, and also one other there.
Well, they've upped the pace in the game, the Manly team. They're doing a lot of dummy half running, especially coming out of trouble. With a bigger Brisbane forwards. Just at the moment, they need to slow down the ruck area a little bit better.
Williamson popping it on. The Frawley was looming on the right-hand side for them. The pass didn't go to the right man. And now here's Parker wanting to take a quick tap. He caught the Manly defence still backpedaling, not at the 10-metre line. He was shown the mark, and Sean Hampstead said that was okay. Berrigan back on the inside for Andrew G. He'll play it in front of the post, 20 metres out. Here's Swain. A circle away from the Solomon Hamono tackle. Barry Berrigan firing it to Sean. Now G. Stopped there by Randall. Just outside the Manly 10. 2 tackles left. As Iken now takes it to them. Runs a long way before he pops the ball out to Michael DeVere, but it's McGuinness who comes up with it. And now he gives it to Aaron Cannings.
Well, they were lucky there. The Eagles, Iken, The showing go near the line. And again, Watmouth from dummy half. Not held, continues to run.
Down the middle of the park. He stopped there eventually by Michael DeVere, who makes the tackle. Now Menzies runs a long way from dummy half before he gives it to Luke Dorn. Stopped there by Stewart Kelly. He'll play it at the halfway line. Just over 6 minutes before the break remaining. Manly looking to build on this 8-point lead. Randall giving it to Tony Jensen. Head over the top by Andrew G. Stopped him in a hurry. Randall from dummy half. Rubbering again. Scott Donald coming to put some pressure on them. Fortunately for the Broncos, it beats everybody across the touchline. A good kick. They'll have to work it away from a set play situation, just turn out from their own line.
He makes you think, Chad Randall, if you're playing on a short side and the Eagles have got the football, you've got to be aware that he can kick the ball or duck down there. He's always scheming.
No, at the lock street, not the second row. At the lock street.
And Wayne Bennett has made a change with Nick Parfitt coming off. Scott Prince has now moved out into the centres, and Michael DeVere has been moved to the fullback role.
Parfitt off the field, as you say, at the moment. Reshuffle in the back line for Wayne Bennett. Here's Maya Solomon-Amono back on the bench for the Sea Eagles after playing 35-odd minutes. Parker will play it just outside the 20. Here's Swain to G. Moved up quickly on that left-hand side, but what now will be called out here?
Anthony. Still hit him high. It didn't hit him in the chest at all. Didn't hit him, hit him high. Keep him down. Right, it's only a penalty.
Nothing more than that, says Sean Hampstead. What now?
He must have jumped. He's a big man, Dane Carlaw. He's not the tallest Anthony Watmouth.
Here's Swain giving it to Andrew G. And Canning stops him just outside the 30. Swain to Sean Berrigan. Myers. He's tackled 28 metres out from the Manly post. Berrigan turning it back for Andrew G. And getting to him. The help there also of Glenn Stewart, wearing 24 Manly. This will be playing in Premier League in the lock forward position. Finds himself as the travelling reserve, getting a start tonight against the Brisbane Broncos on their own patch. Here's Barry Berrigan coming to Petro Sivanasiva. Myers gets a ball out the back to Parker. Comes away to Scott Prince. Playing in 22 for Brisbane and playing in the left centre position at the moment, filling that hole vacated by Michael DeVere, who's gone to fullback. Icon with a kick, grabbed by Scott Donald. Now there's trouble for Brisbane. He comes to Prince and puts it in and away on him and runs away to grab a hat-trick for the Manly Sea Eagles. Oh, what a run by the former Cowboy and Eel Flyer. The kick from Icon was to the corner. They want to take a look at something.
What we're checking for is obstruction down there when the player was catching the ball.
That's okay.
Well, there was...
He does move off the line,
coming
but
across.
that happens every bomb, and they don't ask for it every time a try is being scored.
Now, you're exactly right. Anthony Watt now comes across and certainly hinders Stewart Kelly getting there. The video referee tonight is Eddie Ward, who's had a couple of looks at it, and he says no try, penalty. Scott Donald ran almost 100 metres only to be denied a try. I can't believe it on the Manly bench, but having had a look at it a couple of times, I think he's come up with the right call.
Look, it is the correct call because you're not allowed to do it. But what I'm saying is that happens every time a kick is put up in the air. And you know how many penalties they get?
Well, that's what the video referee's really taking him out. So that's it, right? Okay. Just here, is it?
Well, Stephen Menzies got it right. It is a massive call. In the greater scheme of things, we'll see if the Broncos can come up with a 12-point turnaround here. Swain from dummy half, turning it on the inside for Petro Sivanasiva. He's stopped there by Cannings. Turn around in this game if the Broncos can score here. Here's Berrigan giving it to Wyken, who was running at them to be stopped by Williamson and also McGuinness. Barry Berrigan coming down the short side from dummy half. No way through for him. 2 tackles left in this set of 6 as G gets the first receiver. Here's Berrigan, Sean that is, stepping in traffic. Only metres away. Swain to Myers from close range. Tries to charge across. Was stopped. Flung it out the back, and that will be the turnover on the last tackle.
Yeah, great defence out by Manly. They were coming to get them, weren't they, the Brisbane Broncos? They realised there's not much time before half-time. Oh, Randall looks to be in a little bit of trouble.
There's a knee problem here. Getting up to his feet and hopping around in some discomfort. He is not all that well at all. We'll play on for the time being with Randall still laying there on the ground close to the action. For the moment it's play on. Lima playing it inside the 2-minute mark in this first half. And the man penalised for the interference on Stewart Kelly. Watt now plays it. Tony Jensen has been good coming off the bench for Manly so far in this game. We'll play it back to Mitch Creary. A run from dummy half gets them to within 20 of the halfway line. Menzies will give it back to Dorn, who's happy just to grab her and pick up barely any metres at all. But it will use up some time on the clock, and they'd love to go into the sheds still with his 8-point buffer up their sleeves.
That's good work there by Luke Dorn, going to the sideline, chews up some time. And really, the Eagles have to hang on here. Now, Chad Randall, he's in all sorts of trouble. He's done his best to try and stay on. And how important is this as far as changes are concerned? A minute 10, you just don't know whether these type of injuries may come good at half-time.
That is a real blow for the Sea Eagles. Create so much for them. In the dummy half area, of course. So Berrigan with the feed. The last set of 6 just about in this first half. Will be with the Broncos. De Vere taken the ground eventually by Watmow. Here's Sivanasiva trying to put a step on as he came to the defensive line, but he was grabbed around the leg there by Hayne. Here's Eichmann as they stack the short side. Frawley with a leap to the air, and he was picked off as a result by Albert Torrens and others. Eichen, a lovely ball to Sean Berrigan. Stopped though, 38 out from this Manly line. 30 seconds left before the break. Swain looking for options. Goes back to the left-hand side to Eichen, who just kicks in behind them looking for Frawley. Tom's got an awkward bounce, but in the end handled it very well. And they'll be happy just to work through these last few tackles and then get to the sheds and regroup and come back out and try and keep it going in the second half. Hayne away from dummy half. We'll play it quickly. Comes back to Glenn Stewart now. About 18 short of the halfway line when he plays it. As the siren will sound here. And that will do it. Manly, perhaps they will feel unlucky not to have at least one more try, and Scott Donald will feel agree that he hasn't got a hat-trick at the break. They lead the Broncos 14 points to 6. Richard Swain will perhaps be required to play another 40 minutes in a row here. Sivanasiva wanting to get things underway. He waited a deal of time himself in the first half before coming off the bench. And now Michael De Vere gets us back underway. It will be Aaron Cannings to bring it back out and play it there at the 20-metre line. In fact, Danny Lima was getting up to play it pretty quickly. Here's Jensen. Back to Hayne, who'll give it away to Stewart, bouncing away from the tackle there of Myers. We'll play it again to Hayne, who will fill the dummy half role with Chad Randall off the park. And we'll bring you some news as to his injury. Clutch to the knee from his own post towards the end of the first half, and could be in a deal of trouble as well. Played on for a couple of minutes, but eventually had to be helped from the field as De Vere brings it back, playing in the fullback position. Replaced Nick Parfitt, whose perhaps confidence was rattled a little bit after coming up with an air swing. And Anthony Watmow was able to slip under his guard and score a try in that first half. Sivanasiva playing it back to Swain. Now Myers stepping off that right foot. Little ball out the back for Swain, showing it, going again. Stopped there by Jensen and also Cannings. Here's Berrigan. About 40 metres out when he plays it on the last tackle for Brisbane. Aiken. Some nicely placed kicks in the first half. This time just lobbing it down to the corner, and Creary coming across will bring it back. Could be met by Carlaw and also Kelly.
Good start by the Brisbane Broncos. And Brad Myers looking to offload the football. I think that's what they need to do a little bit more of, Brisbane. Sometimes they can become a little bit predictable, and over the last few weeks they've certainly changed their style. Trying to look to score points, look to offload, and throw the ball around a lot more than what they have in the past. Chad Randall sitting on the bench. He'll be eager to get back out there. We'll see to see whether he does come back.
Dorn for the moment with the kick, a spiral one which almost got away from Craig Frawley there, but adjusted at the last moment and brings it back to within about 15 of that halfway line. Here's Prince stepping away from dummy half. And the halfback job. Just the Bulldogs up here at Suncorp Stadium, and the Origin players were on duty that week and out of action. Corey Parker just across the halfway line, playing it back to Swain. Here's Brad Myers now, running a long way before he got to Luke Dorn, who was happy to just float back in the defensive line with Aaron Cannings alongside him. Aiken put it high in the air. Some pressure here coming up on Albert Torrens, who isn't the tallest winger going around. They did well to come down with it. Frawley got it back, and now De Vere punts it high across the other side of the field, but Menzies floating back there as almost an extra fullback was well positioned. And the captain comes down with it about 5 out from his own line.
Great play, wasn't it, by Steve Menzies? He got back there. They made a play at the football, Frawley. And it was one of those just floating footballs that was there. Torrens looked as though he had no hope of catching it.
Here he is now, Torrens. Up there in the tackle. Frawley and also Sean Berrigan, or rather Barry Berrigan. Dorn running a long way off that left boot. He fires this particular one. Now De Vere.
That was good play. Good play that by Corey Parker. He really chased Dorn from the marker position, and Dorn couldn't kick with his right. He had to kick with his left. Straight back to De Vere on the full. Broncos get it back in good field position.
Myers hitting the ground awkwardly there, just on his own side of halfway. Here's Andrew G now. They'll play it back to Swain. Comes to Aiken. Sivanasiva. Ball at the back. Parker reels it in with one hand. He tries to get going quickly, but he's met there. Driven back to the ground by Watmout. G. To Sean Berrigan. What a step. What a move. He fires a pass to Ben Aiken. McGuinness can't pick him up. And the 5'8" will score for the Broncos. But he might have heard something here as well. A lovely run by Berrigan has them back within 4 points. But Aiken was in some pain and still is as he crossed the line.
And that's a combination that will get them back into the game. Berrigan and Aiken. And just a nice play by Andrew G. And then Berrigan just cutting back, running at speed. And Benny Aiken in support. The ankle tap there by McGuinness wasn't going to be enough. Of course, he didn't injure his leg last weekend against the Melbourne Storm. Just stepping around Hayne. And then finding Benny Aiken in support. Near the post, the Vere will convert. It'll be a 2-point ball game.
Try number 4 in the season for Ben Aiken. A game which has been notable for so many changes, so many players playing out of position on both sides of the equation. And now Michael De Vere from right in front. Should get the Broncos back within 2 here. Just a little nervous moment for the Seagulls standing behind their own line, knowing that they gave up 4 tries in very quick time to the Roosters last week for the moment. And Webke just happy to stay nice and warm underneath the blanket on the bench with Brent Tate, Brett Seymour and others watching on from the bench behind him. Luke Williamson to get us back underway. Just gone 7 minutes gone in this second half. And there's the Broncos who come up with first points. Micah playing it awkwardly off the boot there. The ball seemed to sort of knuckle through the air on him without much spin at all, and really died as it got to him. And luckily, he had the presence of mind to play it off the boot. Look it forward now with Myers. Here's Swain giving it to Dane Carlaw. A little step on there, got away from Cannings, and it was Jensen who dragged him down from behind. Here's Barry Berrigan going from dummy half. Threatened to get through the line as well. Chad Randall is back out there now for Manly. Here's Corey Parker standing still in tackles. What a player he is to be able to call on for a hole on the bench, or in fact being the starting side as he has been for the last couple of weeks. Icon now kicking away from Mitch Creary, and it's Albert Torrens who'll go back into his own in goal to pick it up and only just bring it back to the field of play.
Good kick, Benny Icon, and the chasers were aware. This is where they work hard, the Broncos. That's 2 tackles in pretty quick time. They're working hard. That's 3 tackles over near a sideline. They've got to come up with a play here, the Eagles.
Luke Williamson playing it back to Randall. Here's Harris. Stopped just outside his own 20. As they get the kick away here, Manly. Dorn will be just still inside his own 30, and he gets it away, looking for a 40-20 though, and it wasn't such a bad effort. De Vere had to get across pretty quickly to pick it up to make sure it wasn't going to go across the sideline. And here he is, turning it back on the inside to Berrigan, who's away again. He runs away from Cannings, who comes again to grab him around the bootlaces. That was some tackle by the front rower. Here's Myers. He's only 30 metres away when he'll play it. Barry Berrigan coming back to G. Icon standing in the tackle for a moment there before Williamson was able to drag him down. Parker will give it to Andrew G again, running a long way. He had Berrigan there with him, and now Seven-a-Seaver dives on it. Just 20 metres out from the Manly line. 2 tackles up their sleeve here. Andrew G is playing like a halfback now, touching it at first receiver almost every tackle. Corey Parker able to hang on to it as if he had an orange in his outstretched hand. Icon grubbering, well handled by Mitch Creary.
Great take, wasn't it, there by Creary? He attacked the football. The chasers were coming through. You've got to show plenty of courage also in that situation.
Menzies from dummy half. He puts them under pressure here. Jason King is only just back out there for Manly, and suddenly the ball was coming back his way when he wasn't ready for it. Here he is, taking it across the 10-metre line for them. Stopped there, a good tackle down low by Sean Berrigan, who makes another one there, but the offload comes back to Harris. Pass to nobody. Here's Luke Dorn picking it up, but he'll be grabbed by Kelly and also Myers. It's only 8 metres out on the last tackle. We saw signs of this last week, and Randall only just gets the kick away, with Manly panicking a couple of times, a couple of sets of 6, which cost them plenty of metres. And they've duplicated that there in that particular set. And here's Frawley off the back of all of that, just 25 out from the Manly line.
And it's just been the intensity the Brisbane Broncos have started with in the second half. As Dane Carlaw, tremendous run.
Unstoppable! Dane Carlaw with the fend. On one of those runs he makes every now and again where you just can't bring him down. He storms his way across the try line to put the Broncos back in front, 16 points to 14. He looked a little bit like the raging bull himself there.
Well, that's why he's playing for Australia, isn't it, Dane Carlaw? He was great in Origin 3. And you mentioned these type of runs. He just picks a small man out. He's very good at doing it. He'll pick where he wants to run, and it's on the smaller man. This time it was Luke Dorn. and barges his way across for the try and put the Broncos in front. But it was the tempo in the second half which has really hurt Manly. They just haven't been able to go with the Broncos.
Creary got there a little bit too late, as it all turned out. And a huge run from Carlaw. Puts them back in front by 2 at the moment. 15 tries now in his career. And after bouncing between the bench and also the run-on side for Queensland in the first couple of Origin games, a huge game in Game 3, getting picked in the Australian side. And he's continuing that form again here tonight. And consider the kickoff for this game was only 20 hours after they finished that game last night. It's a huge effort from these players backing up. Michael De Vere from wide out strikes it pretty well, but it just scrapes away to the left-hand side. The Broncos lead the Seagulls, though, 16 points to 14. They've scored the first 2 tries of this second half. Manly need to show something in this next 5 minutes.
They certainly need to show a lot more with the football. I mean, that last set of 6 coming off their own line out of trouble, they put themselves under enormous pressure. And we keep saying it, that someone needs to take control. Someone's got to be directing the team and telling them where he wants them to be and where he wants to kick the football from.
Mono back out there now as the kickoff comes down to Stewart Kelly. He brings it back to be stopped there by Harris and also Jason King. Shane Webke has put the blanket away for the moment. He says, give me the ball, I want it, and he's back out there playing at 25 short of the halfway line. Webb up in this tackle by Williamson and also Jensen. Play it back to Henry Berrigan. Here's Parker running at Randall. G came quickly at them, trying to build a head of steam up. Able to force him sideways on the run. Jensen a nice tackle, and now it comes back to Wyken. Kicking from inside his 40. It's down the middle of the park. And Creary, again, one of those nervous moments. He's had a couple of them tonight, but done some very good things also.
He has done some good things. One thing he does do, he stands back a long way. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the Broncos decide to go over the top or along the ground when they're around halfway, because there's a lot of space in behind the Manly defensive line and where the fullback is standing.
They've spent pretty much all of the second half so far in this part of the field. Now they'll play it again. So inside their own territory with Randall kicking from dummy half. Comes down to De Vere. To show some sure hands himself to run back at them. Oh, Jason King lined him up. And De Vere didn't die on his run either. Wore a heavy tackle as a consequence, and now here's King trying to put a hit there on Craig Frawley. Berrigan giving it to Webke, keeping the momentum going. They've brought back a long way in just 3 tackles. Webb trying to follow that trend. Gets away there from the tackle of Harris, but Chad Randall walking around the ruck area doing the cleaning up. It comes to Sean Berrigan. He'll give it to Dane Carlaw again. One-on-one here with Dorn, but luckily the pass wasn't a good one for Carlaw. And they'll herd Stewart Kelly back across the halfway line. Berrigan will give it back to Wyken. Charge down. Donald got to it. Harris was also there. Still play on for mine. Donald picks it up and then knocks it on. A great chance for Manly goes begging. They weren't going to score on the play, but they're going to have possession just 25 metres out from the Broncos line.
It was a great play by Scott Donald. He charged the football down and then he kicked. Now, is there an advantage there? I'm just wondering whether there's an advantage there for Scott Donald.
Perhaps the ball travelling as far as it did after the charge down. And of course they planted it once again. That was their advantage there. And once they planted it the first time, when Donald came across, got a hand to it, only to knock it on. It was advantage over. Came back to the Broncos. Here's G showing it. Stop at the halfway line there. Oh, what now with some help of Menzies. There's Webke again. The crowd finds its voice as their stand-in captain tonight. Took it a long way before he got to them.
He tried to pass the ball.
You've got to feel sorry for Shane Webke, don't you?
Shane tried to pass it and went forward.
Steaming onto the ball, trying to get one of those offloads happening. He did it so successfully last night. Premier front rower in the game.
Now Dorn with the scrum feed. Give it to Williamson. Manly will try and get through a set of 6 here and get a good kick off the back of it. McGuinness from dummy half. They did plenty of their work in the first half. Just some simple stuff, taking no chances at various stages. Jensen on the inside for Harris, who tried to spin away there from the Carl Webb tackle. McGuinness again, getting into dummy half, pushing away from Webke's tackle. Coming to Sean Berrigan. Now play at 30 out. Randall now getting to dummy half. Here's Hamono down the short side. Grabbed around the legs by Berrigan, who drags him down. Inside this Brisbane 20 they are. Dorn will put it high in the air. Some pressure here on perhaps Ben Eichen, who might have to go high for it. He might have spoiled the run of Michael De Vere. And when it came down to Corey Parker, he grabbed it and was offside in front of the post. And you would think they'll take the two without question.
Well, there was plenty of time for Luke Dorn to put the ball up in the air. And then a couple of the Broncos fighting over the football, knocking it forward, giving away a penalty. He had to play for the ball. De Vere and Eichen, no communication there. Sorry, it was Corey Parker, not Andrew G.
You can see Eichen was the man who, when he went up for it, De Vere came across to make contact with him. He was surprised that De Vere actually got there. And it will cost them a couple of points, you would think, with Williamson taking this kick from pretty much straight in front. The Broncos, after trailing by 8 at the break, scored the first 2 tries of the second half. One to Eichen, one to Carlaw, and there's Shane Webke. What 24 hours of rugby league. What a week and a half. His 4th game in 11 days.
Deserve a sleep tonight, I think it was.
Trying to make it, of course. A perfect 4 from 4. Williamson, though, in the meantime, with the 2 points from right in front. And he's put us back square. As we approach the hour mark here in Brisbane, the Broncos and the Sea Eagles. 16 playing 16.
And they gain plenty of momentum as Peter Sharp looks on for the coach's box when they do a lot of dummy half running, don't they, Manly? The bigger Brisbane forwards, they just can't seem to handle the dummy half running. They struggle to square up at marker. They struggle to get back, come forward really quickly. I think it's an area that they can continue to do in the second half. After they've got a couple of good scoots going, good go forward off some of their bigger men. And Chad Randall looking for the blindside plays. I think the simple plays are a lot better than maybe trying to use the football. I just don't think they've got the confidence to...
And there was Jensen
to execute it as well.
Using it to Watt now. And now Menzies taking it up to the 30-metre line. We'll play it there on tackle 4. Randall to Dorn, who'll kick early in the tackle count here. Not a bad tactic either. De Vere, though, will pick it up just inside his own 20. Frawley there with him and uses the winger. And he's tackled by Torrens and also Williamson. 20 minutes left here in Brisbane. Golden Point game last week for the Broncos. 1 minute after the game said, I love the Golden Point, with tongue planted firmly in his cheek. I don't know that he'd be all that impressed if his side had to go to Golden Point again tonight, given the workload on his players in recent times. Here's Carlaw. Webb. Met there by Randall and also King standing. Pops it out the back as calm as you like, and now comes back to Sean Berrigan, who puts a kick in. Creary coming across will be under a bit of pressure here as Berrigan follows through on the kick, and it's Andrew G who comes in to flop into the tackle.
You worked him on the ground. You worked him on the ground. He was down the ground, you worked him. He was down on the ground and you worked it. Second push, knocked it over.
And that's a fair call, that. He did come in as a second man. He worked him on the ground, had his hands on the football. Curry had no opportunity to get up and play it. And that was a relieving penalty for the Eagles. They've got to work the field position game now, the Eagles. The Broncos bring it off their line, they will become tired. But just hand it back in good field position. The Webkes and these guys that have played last night, the 7 receivers, they'll continue to cut the ball. But it's certainly a lot harder doing it off your own try line.
Here's Dorn. Ball back on the inside for Jason King, who stopped at the halfway line. Randall now. Back on the inside here for Jensen. Runs across the face of Webke. Comes to Barry Berrigan. Webke gets there eventually with Andrew G in tow. With a couple of tackles left. Menzies to Himono. Ball back on the inside for Randall. Going on quickly to Dorn, who lost it in the tackle there. And Sean Hampstead saw it. Dorn won't like the call, but there was no doubt he lost the handle on it.
I think he was trying to pass the football, Luke Dorn. And then he decided against it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have
And all of a sudden the hands from G become involved. He knocks the ball forward. It was building quite nicely there for the Eagles.
Ticket number 01204E.
Berrigan from the back of the scrum gives it to De Vere as they try and work some numbers down the short side, and Prince is almost bundled across the touchline by Williamson. Frawley from dummy half. Grabbed by Williamson and comes up with a double with the help of Himono. Myers straightening on his run, stopped there by Randall and also Harris. 17 minutes remaining. Still, we're tied up. Berrigan, a lovely delayed ball for Carl Webb, who hasn't got anybody in front of him. Creary coming across, won't get there. What a pass from Berrigan. What a 10-minute burst he's had here suddenly. And after Manly drew square, the Broncos again hit the lead.
That's a good sign for Broncos supporters, isn't it? Big Carl Webb out in the open. But it's been this man who's brought the Broncos back into the game, Sean Berrigan. A lovely pass to a steaming Carl Webb. And Creary coming across, did his best, but he couldn't match it with the second rower. Big awesome side, isn't it?
It certainly is. Almost the build of Matt Utai with those thighs pumping. Squat to the ground as well. Creary coming across. Haven't quite got the speed of Utai. I hate to be standing in front of him all the same. His first try of the season. And a great moment for him after being out with a debilitating hamstring injury for the first half of the season. And for a while there, the Brisbane Broncos coaching staff really didn't know when Carl Webb was going to get back on the field in 2003. But he worked and worked at it. They were contemplating all sorts of alternative therapies for a while there. But he gets try number 1 for the season, an important one as well. De Vere can't convert the kick, and it's 20-16. The Broncos lead the Sea Eagles. Just on quarter of an hour left here at Suncorp.
Access to the playing area.
Not a bad crowd in attendance tonight for this 5:30 game on a Saturday afternoon, of course. The Sea Eagles perhaps only in finals contention, maybe not the draw card at this stage of the season. The other teams the Broncos will play in the run to the finals are Williamson with the kickoff, trying to find the touchline perhaps off it. Kelly was there to take it on the full, just out from his own line, but he's grabbed by Watt now. In fact, I still might try and get him across the line here. He ran the gauntlet then with Stewart Kelly. Here's Swain to Myers. And pop it out the back, straight to Stephen Menzies. An injudicious pass from Brad Myers gives Manly a chance to hit straight back.
Oh, that wasn't needed there by Myers. He just needed to cart the football up, get to their kick, the Broncos.
Randall at dummy half. 15 out from this Broncos line. Dorn on a switch of play had King getting a hole down the short side. Himono from dummy half will try his luck. He's only a couple of metres out when he'll play it. Dorn at first receiver. has players chasing through for a grubber, but this man, Sean Berrigan, read it beautifully. He saw the players to the right-hand side of Dorn were up very quickly, realised they were coming through for a grubber, and trailed back in behind the line to come up with the ball and bring it back to the field of play. He's on fire, Sean Berrigan.
And I'm sure before the game, Wayne Bennett would have wanted his more senior players to lift the guys that have had the full week's preparation with them. And Sean Berrigan has certainly done that tonight. He's been inspirational in the second half. That was a wonderful bit of play. He realised the kick was coming through. He dropped out of the defensive line, got the football, not only got the football in goal, but then took it 10 metres back into the field of play.
Here's Eichen, kicking from the 30-metre line. The last tackle, not a deep one as well. Looks to be still inconvenienced on either a knee or perhaps a thigh injury himself, Ben Eichen. We saw he was in pain when he scored a try earlier on, and now the Seagulls will have it at the halfway line. That's where Watmow plays it. Donald, who scored 2 tries in the first half, grabbed here by Webke. There's Albert Torrance coming midfield to do some work from dummy half for them. Just takes it forward for a settler where he's met by Swain. Randall to Dorn. Ball back on the inside for Menzies, who's hitting a hole, but the pass was forward. Dorn back on the inside to Menzies. The touch judge was right in line with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming out to Sunfield Stadium tonight to support your team. The Brisbane Broncos.
Lovely play by Luke Dorn.
18,507.
It was flat.
18,571.
Flat tending towards forward. And the touch judge made a quick call. And Sean Hampstead blew it up straight away. De Vera's almost away. Prince from dummy half. Stopped there by Jensen. The Broncos looking to consolidate here in this next couple of minutes and build on this 4-point lead. Sivanasiva is 35 out from the Manly line. If they could camp themselves here for a couple of sets, perhaps with a grubber in goal, a repeat set, they might just take a little bit of energy out of the Manly players' legs and do enough to get the points here tonight. Eichen will play it on the last tackle. Not close enough for a grubber, as it turns out. Maybe they'll go to the air. Berrigan, he will go with the grubber. He comes off one Manly player to be picked up there by Creary, who now has his head swathed in bandages. And I'll shift it to the right-hand side straight away. Torrens getting away from them with open spaces in front of him. Barry Berrigan chasing, will get to him. Torrens comes to Michael De Vere, runs across the top of him, and then Shane Webke comes up with perhaps a try-saving tackle on Kevin McGuinness.
Great tackle by the skipper, Webke. The Eagles go wide was.
Randall to Dorn. A full 360-degree swivel, and then a pass to Aaron Cannings, who's playing on the wing on the other side of the field. I don't believe what I saw from Luke Dorn.
Well, he didn't mean it, surely.
He can't have. An incredible pass. And the Seagulls tied up once again. 20 each. Here's the bust at the other end of the field by Albert Torrens, who kept going. They were coming from all parts of the field. Barry Berrigan chased him down, but he got away from him, shrugged away from De Vere, and then what an effort from Webke to chase down the park. And look at this from Luke Dorn, talk me through it.
It's just a wonderful ball. He goes to play on the inside and then just throws it. Look, that could have been a try at the other end to Stewart Kelly, but the gods have been smiling on Dorn. Great play by Shane Webke. That's why he's skipper. He comes up with plays like that every week for the Brisbane Broncos. I'm not so sure about the pass and whether he comes up with plays like that every week, Luke Dorn, but it's come off. The Eagles are happy. They level the game up, and Williamson gets a chance to put the Eagles in front with 9.5 minutes to go.
Oh, Luke Dorn and Aaron Cannings backing up down the field, filling a hole out there on the wing as they had the Brisbane defence shot to bits. We'll see the like of that pass from Luke Dorn again this season. Williamson from a simple angle. A chance to once again wrest the lead away from Brisbane, and he does. minutes left. And it's 22, playing 20. And what is the quintessential seesawing game here at Suncorp Stadium?
Well, they've done well to hang in, Manly. They're out on their feet. And Sean Berrigan was cutting them to pieces as Wayne Bennett looks on with Darren Lockyer and Alan Langer next to him.
Here's Michael DeVere with the restart. Bounces up for Randall, who gives it off to Jason King. The Broncos, of course, remembering coming off that Golden Point win last week against Melbourne. And no team who has played in an extra time game so far in 2003, whether they win or lose that game, has gone on to win the following week. Menzies collared here in a heavy tackle, slumps back to the ground. Hamono now, he's stopped 10 metres short of the halfway line. Randall from dummy half has what now with him. Fend away from the Carlo tackle. Stephen Menzies is getting a bit of water in the face there from the trainer. Back to his feet now. Seems to be okay. Here's the kick, which comes to Michael DeVere. He'll field it inside his own 20.
One thing about the Brisbane Broncos, Warren, they do play for 80 minutes, so they're used to going down to the wire in games, and they have won more than what they've lost. But it's another big effort required because they've got players backing up. It's been a hectic 6 weeks for them. They've got some players that haven't played regular football in the first grade team for them.
Sean Berrigan has lost the ball here. Jensen has it for the Sea Eagles. He's only 40 metres out. A mistake by the Broncos. Gives it straight back to Manly, who lead by 2 as the clock ticks down to the 7-minute mark. Here's Hayne back out there now. Saw Randall a minute ago hobbling again in back play, and now it's Dorn who gets to dummy half. Cannings, a try scorer off the miracle ball by Luke Dorn. In front of the post, a field goal good to them at this stage. Here's Jensen on an inside ball from Williamson. That will be tackle number 4. They'll go back to the right-hand side. Here's Dorn running at them, giving it to Hamono. And he was stopped head-on by Swain. Last play. Dorn again. We do it once more. Now this time he grubbers. Picked up by Ben Ikin, but he's hammered straight away by Aaron Cannings. Chasing through on the kick. The grubber was a good one by Dorn. And they were there to hit Ikin in numbers as he picked it up.
It was a great play, wasn't it, Luke Dorn? Also good play by Benny Ikin. Picking it off his toes. The chasers were there. But there's still another 6 minutes to go in this game. If they can score now, that might wrap the game up. But the Broncos, they have got the ability to strike. And remember that game early in the season against the South Sydney team? They scored with no seconds left on the clock. When Stringer, all he needed to do was get tackled. He lost the football.
Here's a mistake by Dorn. There's a chance. He gets a shove in the back as well from Andrew G. I tell you what, they came from everywhere like it was a Western.
Just can't run in. I don't want you coming running in. Righto, Andrew, come here, please.
The bad boys rode into town. This could be a very big call.
Well, it doesn't matter. I called knock on. You've just come in and knocked him straight over. There's no need for you. Got players running in. Penalty's going against you. You heard me all right.
Sean Hampstead gives a penalty to Manly off the back of a knock-on by Luke Dorn, and Andrew G gives the penalty away.
And it's a correct decision. There was no need for Andrew G to do that. He dropped the ball, Luke Dorn. That's ill-discipline. And he'd be feeling down on himself, Andrew G. And I'm sure the coach will have a word to him after the game. But you can't do those type of things. Dorn, he's dropped the ball. You can see he's dropped it. And then G, he's thinking coming in, and I'm going to push this kid around, trying to flex a bit of muscle.
Sean Hampstead, when you look at the replay, has got it exactly right. It was a long time after the event, wasn't it? And G hit him with an awful lot of force as well. Very poor decision by the man who has played in excess of 300 games in all grades for the Broncos. It might have cost his side 2 points. It certainly has used up plenty of time on the clock, if nothing else. But Williamson, well within range, an easy angle for him. kick to put them in front by 4. It looks good. It is. And Manly lead the Broncos with 4 minutes left. 24 points to 20. A huge turnaround on that one particular play. The Broncos would have had the ball and been working it down the other end of the field. Now they trail by 4. And they've got less than 4 minutes left. Andrew G. Fire the troops up. Perhaps needs to keep himself in check. A short kick-off. They will try it on. Frawley went up for it. And it was touched here. The flag goes up.
Belly feed.
It was touched, though, by Craig Frawley.
No,
who saved giving a penalty away. The ball went out on the full, but it was touched.
Belly feed. No, he said he touched it, it went out. Put his flag up. Right, fellas. Go down.
And the Sea Eagles. Perhaps now their most important set of 6 in the game off the back of this scrum feed. 3 minutes out from time, and a good set of 6 here, and just about wrap the game up. And here's Watt now, from dummy half. Working it across the 40-metre line. And play it back to Craig Hayne. Broncos, they're desperate, you can see, trying to come up with a strip. Put a hand in there and force the ball loose. Here's Sean Berrigan. Make the tackle now on Jensen. He'll play it back to Hermono. He runs up towards the 30-metre line. Last tackle. Well, they go to the sideline to use the clock up once again. Dorn, though, will roll into the in goal. De Vere will bring it back into the field of play. And he's 3 metres out from his own line. The clock ticks down towards the 2-minute mark. They'll shift quickly to the right-hand side. Here's Eichen. Firing a ball to Stewart Kelly. 1-on-1 McDonald at the speedster for a moment there. He pops the ball out the back. Knocked on by the Broncos. And that might be the game right there.
Oh, they didn't need that, Stewart Kelly. With 2 minutes to go, the Eagles, they were getting back in the defensive line, but they were struggling.
And we'll have time out here.
Go, red, boys.
Players will be called out.
Andrew.
And it's Andrew G once again involved in this tackle, which ended up with the player going beyond the horizontal. Just days after so much has been said about these particular tackles, Andrew G, you could see there, picking up with the leg. Really is such a dangerous situation. The ball carrier held up in the tackle. So different with the one-on-one tackles, which have been the subject of plenty of talk in the last 7 days.
Well, it's going to be a penalty, Warren, but it'd be an interesting decision to see what the Eagles come up with. Whether they go for the kick at goal or just put the ball out in touch and try and work the clock down there. Well, they are going for the 2-pointers.
They will go for the 2, and it will ensure that it eats up plenty of time on the clock. With 90 seconds remaining now, the Broncos looking resigned to the fact that this one will get away from them. It's been an unhappy ending to the game by Andrew G. And now Sean Hampstead blows time off with 1:17 remaining. Again, just outside the 30-metre mark where Williamson kicked the last one from. Slightly different angle for him. Still very much a kickable one. Time back on, waved by Sean Hampstead as Williamson eyes the post. The kick once again is a good one. It's scraped inside that right-hand upright, and the Sea Eagles, with now 60 seconds on the clock, lead the Broncos by 6. They've pulled off some miracles in their time, but this will be something else. Michael De Vere with a hurried short kick-off. It wasn't perhaps the best one he's ever come up with, and that is the game now. Manly get the penalty, and they will win here to cause an upset. and snap a 4-game losing streak.
Well, it's been a great effort, hasn't it? From both teams, really. I mean, the Broncos, it's been a difficult campaign for them, but they now get some normality back. I'm sure they would have liked to have won this game. And the Eagles, they have lost 4 in a row. They copped a hiding last weekend against the Roosters, but they've bounced back in the best possible way.
Here's Watt now taking it down the short side. Very good first half from the youngster. And now Hayne will just wheel away from dummy half and be tackled there as the siren sounds to give Manly a 6-point win over the Brisbane Broncos.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League.